That means start the game already. So that meant yes, essentially. Sorry.
Okay.
It's a taunt.
Because I offered you 15 minutes and you said 14. I thought, oh, you drive a hard bargain, sir. But okay, sure. Not 1 minute more than 14.
Yeah, and then if you also watch an Age of Empires chat and people are spamming lots of ones, 11 is a laughing taunt. And
Okay, I
so
knew that one.
okay, yeah, so it's just all ingrained in my brain. But yeah, I was just saying like kind of tough for me. There's a lot of pressure there. Everyone's sweating a bit and competing, and so I felt as though I was just making random units without thinking about the reasons why, you know?
I would
So
be
super down
super
to take some time.
I would be super frustrated, tilted if I were you. Are you? Or is it okay?
Yeah, dude, I'm super tilted.
Yeah, I would be too.
Yeah, I mean, like I prepped myself for this though. I knew that this would be tough, so I had that mental understanding ahead of time. It was not a shock to me that
Yeah,
it was this tough today.
yeah.
So
Well, fair enough. Okay, so this will be like not gonna go too deep into special mechanics, but more to try
yep,
and help you understand what kind of game Warcraft 3 is. Loco is
yep, yep,
having
yep.
his dinner. I have a signed up coaching session with him. And we have a session as well, right? Soon? Yes.
Tomorrow,
Tomorrow.
yeah.
Excellent. So this will be preparation for that. Will you have time before tomorrow or will you have time tonight to play?
I have an H2 tournament in an hour and a half. It may depend on how long that is and what my mood and energy is like after that. I'm
Of course.
hoping to
No pressure. I'm just
play.
asking for context so I know whether I should
No, no, no,
prep
no,
you
no.
for that.
That's good. We scheduled our training 2 hours after I was planning to start. So my hope is to have 2 hours before our training tomorrow at the very least.
Got it.
So that's at a minimum what I'll have beyond the next hour.
Yeah, okay, got it. So it's both this and tomorrow will mostly be at the beginning of your journey.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've played a little bit of AoE 2 and a bit more AoE 4. You have not played AoE 4, correct?
I played maybe like 50 hours.
Oh, okay. More
Not
than
a
I
ton.
played League. A decent amount. Okay. Yeah, so let's talk about economy first. You had some questions about economy. I joined in voice chat. You said, is there any way to increase my gold income?
Yeah, so I assume like building a second like town hall next to another gold would make sense to just spam more workers there, but beyond that, I wasn't sure if there was a way to increase the gold income.
Yep. Okay, so I will. Do you like to take notes, or will you like for me to write a few notes while we speak?
I mean, I feel bad having you write notes and tell me things,
No, it's okay.
but
I
if
can.
you're comfortable doing that, that would work well for me.
Yep. I am sharing a notepad. So gold income is the most important in Warcraft 3. Gold is the major resource that sponsors virtually everything, and it'll be spent on many different types of things. It also has maybe there's 5 sources of gold, and there's probably 4 destinations to spend it on. And you always want more gold. So
Okay.
now let's talk about Lud. No, Lud is nothing. Wood, lumber, wood. Wood lumber is actually a tech or speed limiter. So you want just enough, but you never want surplus or never need, let's say. And this is how it's very different from Age of Empires. You can't sell it at a marketplace. You can't transmute it into gold. There's no benefit having 5k. And so you want as many lumber gatherers as needed, but no more. Now, what do I mean when I say a tech or speed limiter? When you lack lumber, you won't be able to age up.
When you lack it.
Yeah, when you don't have enough lumber, you'll miss age up
Is
timings.
and aging up is the cost? Like that's the cost? It's typically wood?
Yeah, usually
I thought it
both.
was wood and gold.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
So it's going to be something like this.
Okay.
Roughly like this. So in this case, you can see that, oh yeah, I still need gold for a keep, but I also need wood. Whereas if you look at something like a footman, footman is like 135 gold, 0 wood. Just like in Age of Empires, you've got some basic units that cost only gold. A knight, which you should be familiar with from Age of Empires, it's going to be like 240 and 60 wood. So you do always need some, but you always need more gold than you need wood.
Can I ask jump in and ask a question?
Yeah, always.
Let's say, not that this has happened to me, but I have a friend who had 4K wood in the bank, right?
Yeah.
And so you have these workers, they're on wood. Obviously, you don't need to float that much wood. That's seen as bad.
Right.
you obviously don't like kill off the workers. So what like but then you can only have a max of 5 on gold. So are you just completely
Just
screwed at
raised
that point because you've
1,400
overmade
MMR
workers
on
on
web
wood
by
or
spamming
what's
all
the
on gold
Yeah.
and come forward using
recommendation
your
once you
strategy
make
that
that
I saw
mistake?
on YouTube.
Yeah, when that
Thanks.
happens, you can
Struggling with
turn
Farseer push
peasants
sometimes.
into militia, which gives you 42 seconds of footman-like capabilities, and then they lose their
And then they go
weapons.
back to a
Yeah,
peasant.
yeah.
And okay. And
Uh,
they can do that. I assume there's a cooldown process and they can go back to being militia at some other point.
you can go back and forth as often as you like at your main base, the starting main base, the first town hall.
So you have to go back to do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you have to go back to the town. Okay. And then so the recommendation essentially is if you have excess, toss those bad boys into battle.
Exactly. It's like, oops, I made too many. Well, I guess I'll just use them on one fight. Or I'll do a lot of militia creeping. So you temporarily bolster your forces to take creep camps. Creep camps are similar to deer packs, sheep, and boar in that they're NPCs that need to be combated and that they give resources. But the resources they give here are multitudinous, not just food. Creeps give gold per kill, items for some of those creeps, experience for heroes, which leads to bonus stats, HP, mana, damage, armor, regen, and new abilities on heroes. Level 6 hero is
makes sense.
ultimate. So the game is 50% PvE and 50% PvP. The 50% PvE is your management of being able to take down as many creeps as you can. You're going around the map. Like in AoE, you'll gather sheep all over the map. Here, you go with your army and you kill creeps all over the map. And you keep doing that. And there's a rule called ABC, always be creeping. And basically, it also means standing still is bad.
Yeah. I found it
Yeah,
kind of difficult to recognize. Can you talk about like what camps I'm going to encounter? Because it became tough for me to know what what amount of units I would need, what the scaling was, and if there were other things that weren't creep camps that I would encounter along the way. Like sometimes I would see things that looked a little bit different than your typical creep camp.
Yeah, sure. So this is the rough distinction. There are circles on map.
Yep.
If you've never been there, you see the circles. And if you've been there and the camp is gone, the circle disappears. If you've been there and you see it and the creeps are still there, then the circle remains. And if an enemy takes away
Makes
a creep
sense.
camp that you don't know about, the circle also remains because it's not going to let you map back.
Yep.
For an easy camp, doable with 1 hero and 1-2 units as a human. Pretty much always. But it's faster if you also bring 2 to 4 militia. It's common for a human to bring militia if lumber economy allows.
Does the tower help in that in pushing that? Is it useful to bring the militia and tower, or is that not needed? Or can only villagers or like standard economy tower?
Yeah, only villagers can tower, and it takes too
Like
long
peasants.
to help with creeps. Additionally, you only get experience from kills that are not done by buildings. So units, heroes get XP, towers don't. So they don't play a role at all. But it's a good question. Orange, it's kind of tricky. Some orange are near green, some orange are near red. So it takes experience. You're going to need dozens or hundreds of games to figure it out more by more. But one thing that helps is that creeps have levels. The more creeps there are, the harder. The higher level is harder as well. So if you see like level 5-5, 5-4, 5-4-4-5, it's very hard. Like if the creeps levels, they range from level 1 to 10.
Is there any parallels with the size of the unit level?
Yes, it has been very well designed in classic graphics. That generally, whatever is a higher level creep also has a larger body visual. So you will get a feeling for that over the course of dozens of games.
Makes sense.
Okay, just a little note on gold. You get gold from the following sources, and then I have to go to the loco coaching. And we'll do more tomorrow together. Should have a few hours. You get gold from main base, 5 out of 5 on gold. Expansions, also always 5 on 5. Here you never temper the amount, like in Age of Empires, where you like have a delicate balance, sometimes 2, sometimes 4. If you have a town hall next to a gold, you always go for max.
So expansion is building a new town hall next to a gold?
Yes.
with 5 villagers and not
Yes.
producing more from that.
Yeah, except if you want to spread out your lumber economy to a satellite location, like your expansion.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah,
Sometimes
okay.
you'll take a fast expansion. You actually bring 5 militia from your main to creep the camp. Then they revert to peasants on location, and then you immediately build the town hall, which is really neat.
Yo! Jiggling.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yep.
And then you'll see like, oh, I took 5 from wood to creep the expo. Now I took the expo, and now I don't have many left on lumber. So you're going to want to remake peasants from both town halls at the same time in order to revive your lumber economy that has been temporarily deprived.
Makes sense. Okay.
Okay. Then you get it from creeps, selling items. I think that's just 4 sources of gold, unless I'm forgetting something. Killing creeps, selling items. Yeah. So this is how you get gold.
And you
Pretty
sell
much.
items where?
At your own human shop, which is called Arcane Vault, or neutral place called Marketplace, or Goblin Merchant. And if
So
you
there's
have any,
options. Okay.
yeah, Marketplace is on some maps. Goblin Merchant is always present.
Okay. And do you have to have a unit standing next to it to utilize it, or just has to be scouted?
Your hero is the purveyor of items. He carries it. You will right-click on an item in your hero's inventory, and then you left-click on the merchant.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people in your chat that will be able to help you whenever you play. I find it useful to practice against AI to test some mechanics. There'll be people in your chat helping. Feel free to pause the game sometimes. There's going to be a lot of good backseating. And if you pause when you're playing against AI, you can read it and then implement it, which is easier than during the hectics of, playing.
Yeah, makes sense. I'm not hopping into ranked until I stomp some bots. So.
Yeah, makes sense. Usual power progression is beat easy, then beat normal, then beat insane, then go to W3 champions.
Got it. Okay. Makes sense.
And it's gonna be tricky. Don't feel bad if like insane or normal or even easy takes a while, because you're in a completely new playground. I think you'll learn pretty fast. You already improved a lot, but it's gonna take a bit.
Yeah, makes sense. Can you thanks for the time. Can you send that notepad little thing over to me?
Yep.
Just save that bad boy, send it over, and I'll let you go to your training, man.
Sounds great. And we'll go more in depth tomorrow. If you have any questions, I mean, your questions were great. It's going to be fun tomorrow. If you want to bring any, that's fine. Otherwise, I'll have a plan prepared for us.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, T90 was fun. See you.
All right, take care. See you.
Peace.
Yo!
You wonderful human being. All the best always.
Hello, hello.
Hey, Loco.
How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Pretty good. I'm all warmed up now after the 4v4.
Perfect. The plan is coming together. Loco, I must say it was great. I was making dinner and I was watching you watching me watching you playing a game.
Yeah.
It was great.
It was a little bit messy, but I got a lot of helpful advice though. Did you see the notes I took? I took a lot of notes from your replay analysis.
Yeah, I watched the whole thing. I was cutting chicken and frying it.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I got a whole overview with all of the things I should improve. So I haven't played any games obviously since watching your analysis, but I'm sure we can find more problems.
Yep. And I saw you reference the document I prepared for Lakari. I will be sharing that in the Discord as well, because a lot of them are general tips and relevant to you as well. There will be personalized coaching, which will be specific to your style and desires. But like any general coaching, I will cross-share as well. And the server will be the place to check those things out.
All right, cool.
Now, I haven't had a chance to fully prepare a plan for today, but I have some experience with coaching, and you are on a good track already. The question is, what do you feel like you could need help with the most? Would this be knowledge, maybe some control mechanics, matchup information, goal setting, win condition management? Do you have any preference which direction you would like to go?
I feel like one of the biggest problems I run into, and I wonder if this is just knowledge, but I feel like every time I go creeping, I always do it in the most inefficient way possible.
Awesome.
Now, I know there's websites out there that give you general guidelines and stuff, but I'm not super confident with Ancient of War creeping, and then coming up with a plan for the rest of the creeping to get the hero to level 3 and all that, and it just seems very suboptimal. And I know that once you get to level 3 with the hero, especially with the Demon Hunter, it seems really good to go out onto the map and then harass the opponent, but then I'm spending a lot of time thinking about where my other hero needs to be creeping.
Yeah.
So it always seems to come back to the same thing.
Yeah, cool. Great question. Let's just jump into that since that's where your interest is going towards. We can get very nerdy about creep mechanics, and especially as a Night Elf, but even in general as a Warcraft 3 player, it is very important to understand how the creeps think, because this game is 50% PvE and 50% PvP.
Yeah. So like one of the big things I'm running into usually is just the strength of all of the orange camps. Like
Sure.
I've had so many problems with consistencies I've noticed where like generally the natural expansion creeps that are orange are usually a bit easier, and it's the same for like the goblin shop. Those seem to be a bit easier.
Yep.
But I can't really find a whole lot of logic behind, most of it.
Well, your conclusions, first of all, are pretty accurate. The logic behind the expansion not being too hard is one of racial balance. Some races rely more on a early expansion than others, and if the expansion was prohibitively difficult to use and interact with, that's why they don't make them too hard either.
Are those like generally the two that are easier, or are there more that you think are?
I'd say there's more. So let's see. If we look on this map, we've got an orange camp here. This is only barely almost an orange camp. 3-3-4. So I will call this camp. Usually I call this a 3-3-4 orange starter because it is next to your base. It's orange and the levels are 3-3-4. You see?
Yep. So 10 in total.
Yeah, oh, sure. Yeah, we can number it. 10. Let's see. This is 2-4-2. That's 8. Maybe it's that 10 that pushes it over. 9 must be on the border. I like actually just attributing a number to it. This is green, 3-3-1. It's 7. I think that pretty much holds up if you just add the numbers. This camp is harder.
I didn't come up with that. Like somebody in my chat mentioned that like the orange camps are like the total levels. I think it's 11 to 20 or maybe 10 to 20, and then everything below that is green and everything above it is red. I don't know if that's true, but
oh shit. Let's see. This is 9, 11, 15. 15, 10. What else is orange? This map doesn't have a lot of creep camps. If you look at the red spot here, 9, 12, 16, 20, 26. Pretty badass. But yeah, anyways, it's a lot about just knowing the map. But yeah, I would not call this camp orange. This map can be solo crept by a single demon. Single blade, no help. And that's orange.
right.
But you try the same against this camp, you die. And it's partially also about what abilities they have. Now, I heard you say earlier on stream that you like quizzes and tests. I even heard you went to university, which makes you an oddity in our group.
Well, I didn't finish, but
Okay. Well, then I went to university too. But I showed up.
I went for many years, but I never quite got it all done. But
okay,
it
shit.
happened.
Hey, you know what? I'm still proud of you. I know I'm not your parent. I'm still
Thank
proud
you.
of you. I went to uni for -1 day. I showed up. I thought I was signed up. I wasn't signed up, and they said I should go home, so I did. True story.
What?
You know how there's like a deadline in the Netherlands where you have to sign up before
Yes.
like X date in the summer vacation after your high school? And then I kind of deliberately sabotaged that deadline date, even though my parents kept bugging me like, oh, you should go sign up already. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to sign up. And then I signed up
I
a week
see.
late, but I figured it's still going to be okay. So then when I showed up on opening day of uni, they were like, we don't see you in the system. Then I was like,
You just went home again?
yeah, well, at first I was like, but I did sign up. And they're like, well, do you at least have your books? I'm like, books? Don't those get auto-ordered?
Wow.
So they didn't get auto-ordered.
So then you decided to become a pro gamer.
Yes. It worked out!
I mean,
Destiny!
it's one of the ways to do it.
So I'm still proud of you. You went for a few years. You went through the motions. You faked it better than I did. Okay, so let's do a little test. What does a troll trapper do?
I don't know about any of the individual
dude.
abilities.
Okay.
Oh, I know he throws a net. That guy throws a net.
Shit, okay, good. What does a troll priest do?
He heals.
Yep, and inner fire.
Okay.
Mud golem?
I have no idea.
Okay, rock golem?
I know that both of them are magic immune.
Correct?
Because I've tried to immolate them, but that didn't work.
Nice. That's good. Another question came up from your stream earlier. When is the best time to town portal? Is it right before you lose your whole army or right after?
I think generally you want to do it before you lose everything. Yeah.
Okay, that's true. That's good. All right, pretty good. Very close.
Start to get the hang of the basics.
Very close to perfect marks. Okay, so there are a lot of mechanics, and you are a note taker, correct? You're willing to take notes tonight as well?
Yeah, I like taking notes.
Okay, I don't have like like 100% structure. I think there's a lot of separate lessons that need to be learned that will help you, and you may find them interesting. But if you feel like it is not relevant, or you want to move to something else, or you want to interrupt, you have a question, just interrupt, okay?
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so what do you need to know? What do you need to be careful of with troll trappers? They have ensnare. Now, why does ensnare matter? Because your unit is going to get rooted and could either die to creeps or to an enemy.
Right.
Because you can't move for a bit. Now, how does ensnare work? Basically, it is on a cooldown. It doesn't cost mana. You see he has no mana pool. And he will cast an ensnare every once and so often. But the person he wants to target, it can never target heroes. It will target workers or units. And he has a range about this big around him. Let's say about 600 range. The same range as a Keeper of the Grove. Anything that enters this range, when he has available cooldown, he will throw an ensnare. And I'll show it to you now.
We must act. Anudor.
He's just attacking.
Yeah.
Okay, and once that's on cooldown, then another unit can come in. Also, when there's multiple units inside that are moving around, he doesn't use ensnare again. It's already available. But go outside the range and come back in again, he will ensnare.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so when you're inside his hot zone, there are very few to no ensnares, but anything that enters. So you will often have the feeling that the unit you want to be ensnared the least actually gets ensnared, because it's whatever one you're moving, and without knowing the rules, it may seem pretty arbitrary. Okay, so that's ensnare.
Yeah, the fact that it doesn't do it twice within, like, as long as you're within a range,
Yeah,
that seems quite random, right? Like, you'd imagine it would do it on cooldown if available.
exactly. That seems arbitrary. Okay, now I'm gonna show you something else.
Insufficient gold.
We do a little bit of cheating. Don't tell anyone.
Sure.
Okay, what do you know about armor and damage types?
I know that certain units deal bonus damage to certain armor types. And certain units, they have an attack type that deals significantly less damage to other unit archetypes. So for example, in StarCraft, it seems like everything always deals damage. Even if, like, you know, Marines are technically kind of garbage against, like, say, Ultralisks, at least they will still put in a little bit of work.
Right.
But if you put, like, I don't know, I'm guessing, like, archers versus a mountain giant in this game, it's not going to do anything.
Yeah, true. And for instance, a glaive thrower against an archer, he does 50... Well, let's say he does like 55 damage, right? Roughly 53, whatever.
Yeah.
How much is that? 26? So he did about half damage. But now we attack a
Right.
huntress. She takes 64 damage, which is more than his cap. That's a pretty big difference. I heard you say that you don't like studying the graph too much initially, which I get if that's not your learning style. So just remember the following. You can do plus 100% to minus 65%. That's the entire spread.
Okay.
So that's a relatively big difference. The difference between these, in fact, is a factor 6. So some units will do
Right.
35%. A does 35% damage versus B, and then maybe B something else, like X does 200% versus Y. So that's a factor 6 difference. So that's how much it matters. Right. It may matter up to 6 times.
My blades thirst.
So it is
making the right units is really important.
Yeah. It's like rock, paper, scissors counters. But there is also one additional aspect to consider. Certain units are really good against other units. For instance, an archer does a lot of damage against huntresses, but the huntress also does a lot of damage against archers. All fine and well. And this may remain true for a long time while all heroes are level 1. Heroes level 1 have the least sway over units because they're so low level. But once you get to levels like level 9 hero or level 6 hero, level 5, units that used to be good no longer are, just because some units get countered more by heroes than others. So say for instance, you have mass archers and he has mass footmen with defense upgrade. The footmen easily win by cost against archers. But now add a demon hunter level 5 with immolation level 3 and footmen are melee. Now footmen are just garbage. You never would want to make footmen anymore against a demon level 5. Whereas the archers still have all kinds of purposes. And the archers can rely on the demon to kill the footmen. So just remember for now, it's something to store away for later, that heroes can change the balance of power between unit counters.
Yeah, it's not entirely linear. I see.
Yeah. Okay, now we're going to go to the script count. I have Demon Hunter. I'm not going to use abilities. And I'm gonna creep this camp like how most new players
We must
creep
act.
camps. And you'll watch the result, okay?
Okay.
So I've seen this in the other invitational. People will start, they will tank with huntresses because they happen to be fast and be in front. So it's gonna be something like this. There's a rock golem hit. He does a stun boulder. He targets the demon because he likes to prefer heroes. There was an ensnare. There's 2 slows. You see this effect on these 2 huntresses. That's a slow effect from the Mud Golem. His ranged unit is targeting Huntress, which takes bonus damage from the ranged unit. And slowed units get target fired more. Okay, so that went decently, but there's 2
Yeah,
Huntress.
this was kind of lucky RNG here.
I think so.
Best case scenario.
Yeah, okay, now let's do it again. And now I'm gonna micro it. It would be really funny if I did worse now, wouldn't it?
There's no way. So I'm guessing what you're supposed to do is target fire down the healer first. But after that, I have no plan.
That's true. I don't know if I told you before, but the usual priority is
Have revenge.
kill healer,
Like my
range DPS. No, kill healer, mana havers, or let's
Okay.
say spellcasters. Right? Is that good enough to say spellcasters? Mana havers,
Yeah, mana unit, something like that. Yeah.
range DPS, tank.
And usually it seems the tank is the highest level unit in the camp, right?
Correct. Yeah, that's true actually.
My blades thirst.
So you would like so sometimes I wonder if it's good to like just nuke that one down as quickly as possible. But you're saying it's the exact opposite.
as the god.
Well, let's take a look at his stats. He has 675 health, 4 armor, which gives a 20% damage reduction. So let's put his effective health at around 800. 800 health. We can't see his attack speed too much. It's fast. His damage is 31. So let's just assume that he attacks once per second. He has 31 DPS, 800 survivability, 800 health. Then we look at the Trapper, 400 health, less armor. So let's say he has about half the survivability of the Rock Golem, the Trapper. Does 23 damage. Let's just call that 23 DPS. 23 DPS 400, 31 DPS 800.
Right.
But better to kill the Trapper first, usually. But there is a complication. He has mana. That makes him higher priority on our list. So in other words, it's complicated.
Yeah, it's not that easy.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing healer first, then the smaller golem, then the big guy, and then maybe the ranged DPS.
Yeah.
Or I
I'd
guess the other, like the last 2 could be maybe
interchangeable. Yeah, I think that's mostly correct. Healer first if possible always. But also we have a spellcaster here that is incredibly low health and has no armor. He casts slow as well, which is very annoying. And also, these 2 creeps are magic immune. That means they will not receive inner fire buff from the priest. So upon starting the camp, this guy will immediately inner fire the Trapper, which gives 10% damage. And, hold on, let me calculate. 12, 24, 30%.
He gets stronger.
Yeah, he gets 30% survivability, 10% damage. Okay? But after he inner fires that guy, he can't inner fire these 2. This guy casts sleep. So we'll actually, this guy casts slow. We'll first kill the Mud Golem, then the healer, then the mana having stun dude, and then we'll kill the Trapper.
Command me.
And we're gonna tank the first hit with hero, because hero armor takes less damage from DPS. Okay, just believe me on that. Ranged units do less damage on
The
heroes,
time has come.
on average. So if we go in first with huntresses, then huntresses take loads of damage from ranged units. It's bad. So first we go in with demon, we'll kill in the correct order, and then we move our demon away from fat melee, and we'll move our huntresses in
I shall not
to
fear.
take the hit, to split. Because there are many types of resources in Warcraft 3, gold and lumber. There's also XP and items and abilities and so on. But another resource is health regen, mana regen. So when my units are full health, there's no health regen resource being generated because I'm full. It's like trying to earn money when your gold coffer is full. So if I spread a little bit of damage on everyone, I will have quintuple health regen walking away from this camp. Whereas if I let my demon take all the damage and my hunters are all 100%, then I only have 1 time health regen. Understand?
Yep.
Okay, so let's do
Do
it now.
the Night Elf regen faster at night? Or
Yes.
am I...
All Night Elf units have no regen in the day except heroes. 0 regen the whole day, which is half the time. And then all night, you have extra healing to make up for it. Like double what an orc or human would normally have.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go
Do
in
you
with...
take that into consideration if you
Yes.
creep at all? Or is that...
Yeah, it matters. So, see, I'm taking the initial hit with Demon, and then I'm switching to Huntress, and maybe I let Huntress take several hits from the Rock Golem, so that He kind of spreads it. Everyone is now health regenerating. Go for the trapper. Kind of move this one away. Move her closer. Okay, so now all my huntresses are not dead. My demon did get bouldered more than the other, which actually you could say is potentially a less desirable result. And then another thing I did there is I stopped attacking the rock golem when I knew the next rock golem boulder will become available again. And then he will pick a huntress. If everyone is attacking him and he has cooldown for the stun, then it will always go to the hero, which could even kill you. So if you're low, momentarily you can stop. I think the cooldown is like 6-7 seconds. You momentarily stop, he will boulder a huntress, and then you can go in again. So this is desirable because now we only need to send back demon, and we heal with the demon. We also didn't use mana, and I'll explain something about Moonwell Juice. Huntresses can be very costly to heal, and part of that is because hero armor is way better than unit armor. It takes reduced damage from many sources, you see? So if
Does it go up if it levels?
Yes.
Or
So
is this flat?
you've always got a type and you've got a number. The type never goes up, but the number goes up.
Okay.
So if I'm taking piercing damage, I take 10 piercing. It first gets reduced to 3.5, because I only take 35% from piercing. Then you take that 3.5 damage, and you mitigate it further by the damage reduction listed in the number, 23%. That's how it works.
Okay.
So it is good to take damage on your hero because they generally have better armor class than all of your units. So now if I was going to go back and heal anyway, I now only have to heal the demon instead of having to heal 2 nearly dead huntresses, which would cost way more.
The time has come.
Makes sense. Yeah. Is the Moonwell usage always like flat? Like, is it? So I know it has multiple charges if you use like an archer on it, but how does? Is there any logic behind that? Like, if you use it on a hero, if it can, it will drink the whole thing.
Yeah.
But
Let's talk about logic of Moonwells. You can never sub-drink. You always heal to max until the Moonwell is empty or until you are full.
Okay.
Which is true, like what you just said. Additionally, 2 Moonwell Juice is 1 unit mana healed, like restored.
Okay.
And 1 Moonwell Juice is 2 unit HP restored.
Right.
So mana is 4 times more expensive than HP.
Yeah.
And you cannot heal these 2 separately. So if I have a Demon Hunter that has 200 health missing, like now, and I go back to the Moonwell, then this Moonwell will drop from 200 to about 100, restoring his health, as you can see. Just a bit more, right? You saw that?
Yeah. I saw how it dropped.
Yeah, so now I'm going to use Immolation a little bit, and I'll take damage again.
Run for your life. Though I be damned.
I guess these are not going to damage me too much, but just have to wait a little bit
Yeah.
till I take 200 damage again. Pause champ. Okay. Okay, so we roughly have slightly over 200 damage again, and we've also used 70 mana, roughly. So the expectation now is that we lose 200 mana for 100 mana for 200 HP, and we lose another 140 mana for just 70 mana on hero. So it's gonna take 240 from this Moonwell.
Right.
250. So mana is incredibly expensive to heal from Moonwells, and Night Elf should avoid it as often as possible, except when you want to be greedy with it. So sometimes you'll show up with no mana in your pool at all. You want to be greedy, or just like, I don't care, I'm just going to drink full and I'm going to go to party again.
So that's actually very useful, because I've had a few times where I'm creeping, actually pretty much every game where I'm creeping, I'm like, oh, I'm full mana. So I'll try to do the efficient thing that you were talking about, right? Like there's basically a resource lost if you're not using it, because it regens.
Right.
But if I mana burn a creep twice and I go back home, I waste all of my moon juice.
Yes. So if you mana burn twice, you will spend 100, but you start regen after the first. So let's say you show up back home with, that's going to cost you 140 juice, which is 280 health. So the double mana burn costs you 280 health worth of Moonwell Juice healing.
Right.
So you never think when your mana burn creeps twice that you're going to come back, you're going to empty it, and then you're getting attacked by a human with Archmage and Footman, that you actually minus 280 damage to your own demon by mana burning creeps twice.
Yeah. So I've had a lot of games where I then get attacked and there's no juice in the pool.
Yep.
That explains it. Okay.
Great question.
Because I've noticed, like, I've felt it in some of my games, it feels a bit inconsistent, where I have way more juice sometimes, and I've played mostly similar, but that's got to be it.
Yeah, that's it. So if you ever showed up with half-life and this much mana, and you know Moonwell Juice is going to be a problem because you're going to be under attack soon, get a clarity, drink it, wait till it's full. Let's say we're 100 health. We're waiting here with 70% mana and 100 health only.
The time has come.
Yeah.
And then once we're full, or full enough, for however long time is allowed, then we heal, and then that's going to help a lot. So this clarity, it reads regenerate mana, but actually clarity is a key item for Night Elf in general because it can restore hundreds of points of health this way.
Yeah. That's a very good point. Makes the Moonwell way more efficient.
My blades.
Another thing is, if you're 0 mana, you find Mana Pot, you don't have second hero, you're under a massive attack, and your Moonwells are all half full,
Quickly.
just insta-guzzle the greater Mana Pot. You go from empty to full, and now all your Moonwells are suddenly amazing for healing. Whereas before, they would have just given you more immolation, but not much health.
That's actually a super important detail. Huh. Okay. That's really nice. Yeah, that's good. So would you mana burn this this priest at all? Like obviously right now it's not really very useful, right? But hypothetically, like
I
you
would.
just start this camp.
I would, but I would do it only if I'm full, not if I'm half.
Okay. Yeah.
So I can get that regen running. And I would do it only once, never twice.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Additionally, what helps a lot in Warcraft 3 is being specific about your positioning. So you can position like this, left click, and move them all in place and go around. That may feel like it's like 3 or 4 seconds of setup, but it's better if you start attacking the priest with everything at the same time, because you may be able to prevent him from using Inner Fire twice. And that's going to make you a lot faster at farming the camp than if you say, oh, I should always be in a rush, I'm going to start the camp, but now he Inner Fires the entire camp, which is plus 30% health, plus 30% health, plus 30% health.
Right. Yeah.
Which
That actually makes a lot of sense too. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's go discover a couple of more creep camps, because there are many things that you will need to learn.
We must act.
They usually seem to be quite consistent, right? Is it usually like, for example, these type of null camps? Are they like, I don't know if there's maps that have this exact same setup, but are they usually, if you have a null camp on orange like this, are they pretty much always identical?
Not per se. There's also custom community maps being made. They try to follow a lot of the patterns and themes that feel like best practice to not fuck the player up too much. Sorry, I don't know if you have cursing on your channel. If you don't, I'll say fudge. My bad.
It won't fucking happen again. It's okay.
All right, cool. Yeah, there's a lot of recognizable patterns, indeed. But this is one of the harder natural camps on the game. This map is called Concealed Hill, and it's also in the tournament. This camp is tricky because there's 2 assassins. They have poison on their auto attack.
And they poison everything if they can, right?
Yes, how do you know? You saw it?
I've had it happen to me. If they get multiple shots, they will. I don't know if they reapply the dot, but it seems that they prioritize applying the dot to each individual unit.
Yes. Yeah, that's true. And the poison lasts longer on units than heroes. So what will happen is basically every creep in the game has priority to attack whatever is nearest, which they can attack. That's their number 1 priority. But then there's many modifiers that change behavior. And I know a lot of people in my chat and yours, they're going to be like, it's too nerdy, it's too deep, it's too advanced, this doesn't matter yet. It does. Because like I said, half the game is PvE. So being able to creep efficiently is super important, and you will win games because of it. So let's explain the creeps. Like you said, they try to apply dot to everyone. So what's going to happen if I creep this is that these... Oh, hold on. Sorry. I made it night, but apparently making it night makes it day then night. I tried to keep it night because I saw it was going to be daytime.
Oh, you want to
soon.
reset it?
Yeah, I wanted to keep it night.
No, I think going in depth with this is useful, because this is the type of stuff that's very repeatable. You know, like there's a lot of like knowledge for fights that is very useful, but this is the type of thing that you can effectively apply every game.
Yes, correct. Okay, so what's going to happen when I attack these creeps is that all of them will initially attack Demon because she is nearest. He is nearest. I don't know why it always turns on female voice for me. He's nearest, and he's the one that starts the attack. So they will first attack him. Then, these null assassins have a playbook, like you said, of spreading their dot. So they will both attack the demon, and then they will go for the nearest aggroing unit that doesn't yet have poison. So they'll go to Hunters 1 and 2, 3 and 4. Once those are all poisoned, they will go back to the demon who have lost the poison buff already. And if everyone is poisoned, they're allowed to revert to the second step of priority of picking, which is proximity and other rules. But their
okay.
first directive is always poison the world.
Makes sense.
Okay. There are more mechanics here. Null Warden casts a Purge, and the Mud Golem casts a Slow. Both of them slow. Slow slows and Purge slows. How do slows work with creeps? Neutral creeps will favor attacking anything that's slowed. They will gang up in ways that are unpredictable if you don't understand why it's happening. And you will lose units because of it. Every tournament participant in this invitational and the previous one is constantly losing units to creeps because they don't know that a slowed unit draws aggro from everyone. So they'll move it away, thinking that they've shook aggro, but while it's slowed, it goes back into battle, and it will get retargeted because it's slowed. That's why you need to know it. Let's watch it. He will do Purge, and he will only ever purge heroes when the other units are ranged. So he likes to purge summons, any summon, ranged or melee, or he will purge melee. So summons and melee, that's what he will purge. He will never purge archers or huntress. That means archers and huntress will never be target fired because of Null Warden, but they will be target fired because of Mud Golem.
Okay.
Okay, so what you're gonna see is that the poisoners, the assassins, will target everyone and then go back to demon. He will purge only the demon. These two are melee, so they will only focus the demon.
The time has come.
Poison the demon. Poison huntress. He wants to poison a huntress he couldn't reach, so he goes around. These two are poisoned. He realizes this guy is aggroing, poison him. Now back to the demon because he lost the buff. Focus, and he keeps focusing the demon because this guy is apparently not in aggro range, this huntress. And the other three hunts are still poisoned. So he stays hitting the final target that he poisoned. But now he switches to the top huntress again because as she wasn't poisoned and finally came in, switched to that one. So it's actually perfect to open this camp with demon, pre-poison, switch to all the units, and then back to demon, and then it stays on the demon because demon is the last attacked poison target. Again, this was a good way to creep the camp. We first killed the backline that have special effects like poison, purge, and poison. We went for the melee last because melee are not without damage, but they are tanks. We took most of the damage on Demon Hunter. Hunters are notoriously difficult to heal. And now we take these two and we go heal up, and that's that camp.
So, yeah, this one, I guess the two that you killed first, they are not units with mana, right? But they're still sort of in the activated ability category.
Exactly.
Previously you said healer first, mana unit, but it's yeah, makes
You're
sense.
right. Your ability users and mana havers, therefore spellcasters.
That's what it is. Yes, that's the
you're
category.
Right. Okay. Now I'm going to show you something more. This is kind of advanced mechanics, but you're going to love it, and it's going to help you a lot.
This is very nerdy. I don't know how much use I have in a lot of my own games for this, but I do find it very interesting. So we can we can keep this going.
I'm glad you asked. You asked me about creep mechanics. I was like, hell yeah, let's go.
You didn't go to school, or at least not to university, but you got your creep PhD here. It's nice.
Yep, I worked.
You've been studying this for decades.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Now, I explained to you about troll trappers doing ensnares on 600 radius entering units.
Yes.
Not true if it's not aggroed yet. Because
Okay.
I'm essentially breaking the rule I just explained.
Yeah.
Correct? But it's because he's not...
What if you build an Ancient of War here, though? I guess
okay.
then it's a structure?
It's okay. Why can I build Ancient of War here and they don't wake up? Do you know?
I have no idea.
Oh, I thought when I was watching you watch the video, I thought you missed this already.
So you said there was like a little box around it, but the box was slightly bigger than what you just indicated, no?
I made a box maybe like this. This is the non-aggro radius. This is the aggro radius roughly for AOWs.
Okay.
So I'm allowed to build here. They don't wake up.
Okay. That feels so close to me.
Super close, right? You said you had a couple of games where you made AOW and they woke up. And I gave you 2 exception rules when you can't build nearby. This was in the video, but you talked over it when you watch your on your stream.
Oh no, did I?
You missed it, and then you asked chat, did you miss anything? And they didn't tell you either. So I thought, okay, I'll make a mental note. I'm gonna tell you later.
Okay. Please tell me. Yes.
Write down were your university professors this turn?
I don't remember specifically. That there wasn't a whole lot of one-on-one, you know.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. Oh,
Like always lying,
you.
Twitch chat would never fail you. All right, guys.
Okay, write down the 2 exceptions. Creep camp
right here.
is protecting a gold camp. Exception number 1.
Okay.
creep camp contains a level 7 creep or above.
Okay.
That gives them this big of an aggro radius, sideways.
Do any of the orange camps have level 7 creeps?
This one's 6, so I should be able to build an Ancient of War here. But let's see if I lied. Maybe Fountain will also have a defensive aggro radius. Let's see.
There's a third exception.
Okay, red.
I mean, you wouldn't want to AoE creep that one anyways, I guess.
No.
But
Red camps.
yeah.
Red camps are an exception. Damn it! I thought I had all the rules. So this is a red camp, and it's a gold mine. So you super can't do this.
Right. Oh, so then it's actually like, okay.
Yeah.
So I guess, is that mostly... Is that like a balance exception, do you
Yep.
think they've made? Like just so you can't do a super stupid fast expansion as Night Elf?
Yes, that's exactly it. Otherwise, you could just build Tree of Life here.
Yeah,
And-
you would just expand it like 2 minutes.
Yes, and you're right. It is a recent balance change when TFT came out. Because in Reign of Chaos in 2002, people did a lot of tower creeping and expanding on locations. So in 2003, they removed the ability to do that.
That's the recent patch?
Feels like yesterday. Okay.
Well, you guys recently got a new patch announcement, okay? That's... Yeah.
True. Okay, check this out. They're...
I checked it out.
Wait, I wasn't ready. That normally doesn't happen.
Well, 2003 is like 7 years ago, right? So...
It's pretty recent. I hope it doesn't happen again.
The time has come.
I don't know why it happened to. Okay,
Blade's
look.
thirst. Command me.
Can you not do this with wisps?
Your building is
I guess you can't do it with wisps.
I don't know. I don't really know what you're trying to do.
Starbuck says get closer to Mud Golem. Oh,
your building is position.
thanks Starbuck. You want to jump on the call too?
We shall have revenge.
We have another creep PhD in the chat. Very nice.
He is a super nerd. I think he even wears glasses. Okay. You said get closer to the Mud Golem, Starbuck! Maybe it works with Huntress.
As the goddess wills.
Debated. Yeah, thanks, man.
Fear
Do you think it was an actual debate though, or he just got it wrong too?
I think he got it wrong too. He's
Yeah.
the second best player in Europe right now. Okay, the point is,
not fear.
Quickly.
you can do this with Huntress. Maybe you can do it with Archer as well. Watch what happens. Watch what is not happening.
You're not trapping.
No trapping, no slows, no inner fire, no heals, and no rock golem boulders.
So they use no abilities?
Yeah.
Quickly.
So why is this happening? Creeps have a maximum aggro radius. They will pull about this far away, maybe this far. And once they reach the limit of their chasing, which is limited by time since leaving OG spot.
Right? So
Uh,
if they
which
don't
me-
fully reset.
Yeah, it means they will actually go further if they get Bloodlust. Because it's not based on distance, but time since leaving OG spot. So there is a limit. It roughly usually goes this far.
The time
Once they
has
reach
come.
the max, they will attempt to go back to their exact respective leash location where they spawned from.
Quickly.
While they're on the way back, once they pass the halfway mark, you can re-engage them and they will start attacking you, which we did here. And in that mode, they have no spellcasting abilities whatsoever, only auto attacks.
I see.
Very obscure.
So only
ancient
when they
arts.
reset fully is when they will they re-engage using abilities?
After you know, yeah, exactly. Let's say if I re-engage them right here, fair fight, no spells. Here, fair fight, no spells. But if the rock golem makes it exactly here, then he will start casting spells again.
So it's each individual unit too? It's not like
Correct.
the whole camp?
Yes, there's no solidarity in that. It's each individual unit, just like you said.
Huh.
Now, it takes a bit of time
Veronica.
to pull a creep camp away, and it doesn't work on everything. But especially for some camps, it is extremely worth it because Rock Golem Boulder, 100 damage plus a stun.
Our sacred
Slow.
grove is being
Makes every
desecrated.
unit target fire your Huntress. Obnoxious. Makes you vulnerable to creep jacks because you're slowed and stunned. Inner fire slows you down. Heal slows you down. And snare slows you down. Right? Everything slows you down.
Yeah.
And so the time investment is actually worth it. If I try the
So
same
is this
in
like
here,
a full standard? Like, is this like what happens every time you try to keep creep a camp like that?
very, very, very common. There are some downsides. If I pull a camp here, someone that passes by and wouldn't have found me will now
Right.
see what I'm doing.
Hmm.
Right? So you don't always want to do it. If I'm discreetly stealing enemy laboratory, then I may not do it because I don't want passerby to find me.
Right.
But overall, I would say it's quite standard. High-level players do this all the time. And I've seen some tourney participants have also started to do this. Dendy, did this in the previous tournament, and I think Tommy K is doing it as well already.
Okay.
So it's definitely something that you want to keep in mind, both as an attacker and defender of such a mechanic. Humans are going to do this. Now, what happens if I try to do the same here? Oh shit, I have to cheat. Restart. If I try to do the same here, then... So creeps will... If you auto-attack a creep, they all will cast their spells, which changes their behavior. It temporarily resets their threat location. The cool thing about moving a Huntress in, which apparently is a valid unit, whereas a Wisp is not, you move in, but you don't attack the creeps, and then you move away. They all follow. They're not mad yet. If you attack them, they get mad. They throw ensnare, rock, and slow, inner fire, etc. Then it's fucked. Then it's messed up, sorry. Then if I show up here, I don't do attacks because it's daytime and because they all cast their spells. They do this, okay. So because I didn't do any damage, the Troll Priest doesn't cast heals.
I see.
But because the Ogre Mage came from original location, he is now going to cast Bloodlust. But watch what the Troll Priest isn't doing. He's not healing, and he's not casting additional inner fire. So depending on who chases away from OG location, it may work better or worse. So that's just something to keep in mind, something you can play around with. If you notice a Cramp has a lot of spells, you can try to do a pull.
So what if it's nighttime? Do you have to deal damage?
Yes, except creeps that never sleep.
Oh, so those camps always... I see. Okay.
Yeah. However, the behavior for camps at nighttime is a little different. This is actually going too deep for you right now. Just believe from me that this camp cannot be done at night in the same way. They behave differently. Yeah, it's just it sucks.
Okay.
What can you do?
So can you show one more time how you set it up?
Yep.
Like in a normal game, what it would somewhat look like?
Yeah, let's go to another map and show. Let's see. What's it called? The map? Springtime, I think.
I find it interesting, Gene. It's obviously a lot of this is going to be very difficult to implement in a game, but I still, the nerd in me finds this very fun.
And let's talk about some more efficient mechanics, or let's say more relevant mechanics as well. This is all relevant, and it will remain very relevant, but there will also be some specific actionable things immediately.
You never use this at 1600 MMR? Well, maybe you need to.
Yeah. Look, you can... A lot of people have an instinctive resistance against this type of thing, because they find it intimidating to remember these things, and so they rather just not bother with it, which is an uncompetitive mindset, which is fine. You don't have to be competitive, but every single thing that you learn that makes you better will make you advance as well. Yeah, I could come here and just teach you play Mass Huntress every game, and you will get more wins now, but it won't make you a lot better in the long run. Okay, so let's say, for instance, I'm using Huntresses, but usually you'll have Archers. Let's say you're creeping this. First of all, we're going to pull it back a bit to let the melee come forward, and then we can slide in behind. Now we've got immolation on 3 creeps. If I didn't pull back the Mammoth, then I don't have space to immolate all the creeps. The more units get immolated at the same time, the more DPS we do, the less damage we take, the faster we farm, and the faster we can go to the next spot. While we're taking this camp, we can send a Wisp here, pull it in, so we're not even wasting army time. We're gonna go here. And of course, this is too late. Ideally, they're on their way back by the time we get here, so you can play around with the timing. Then we re-engage, and now we're gonna make sure that everything is again immolation range. He casts Rejuvenation when he gets to quarter life, which gives like 200 to 400 health or whatever. That's gonna make you creep slower. He doesn't rejuvenate because he's been pulled to max and returning home, and you re-engaged him on the final half of his return journey. That makes you creep this faster. You get more gold, more XP, more items, more abilities, and more speed around the map, better timings, etc.
So would you normally do this with a Wisp? Like, is this the actual unit you would use for it?
This is the actual... I showed a practical example now because I know Andy's in chat are going to get impatient with deep theory mechanics. And so now I'm giving you a fruit instead of teaching you how to grow a fruit tree. This is the actual fruit. We did this camp.
Right.
While doing it at the right timing, we pull this camp here on this map called Springtime, which... Is it actually in the tournament? I think it is. This is also
exactly
a test.
for each one.
This is a test.
So
you failed it. It's in the map.
I have vetoed all the vetoed maps I could. We were not playing. That's what I've done.
Okay.
But would you do this, I guess, with the scouting worker? I guess that's the most logical thing.
Well, the scouting worker, what I usually do with Elf. So for Elf, minute 145 to 215 is one of the hardest moments in the game. Because at once, you're doing Ancient of Wonders trick, don't last hit with AOW, manage your archer, maybe repair with Wisp, take your hero out, check enemy hero, which comes out at the same time as yours, and you get your second Moonwell, shop cancel. You're gonna have games where you do the shop trick, you forgot to cancel it. There's all kinds of funny things that can go wrong. You can lose your AOW, so it really is a hard time for Elf, those 30 seconds from 0145 to 215. So, your Scout Wisp at this time is checking their opening hero, like this. You're checking, and then quickly you put it on some tree far away, okay? Meanwhile, you're creeping while not last hitting with AOW. And then as you're doing that, you take another Wisp, not your Scout Wisp, and you do this pull.
Yeah, that is a lot.
It's a lot, it's a lot. And you'll see what you can handle. Now, this camp is freaking hard. Inner Fire, Heal, Fairy Fire, which debuffs your armor. If you take this camp on location, you will, like everyone else that tries this camp first time, get completely smacked. We'll do 2 hits so that everyone follows. Almost everyone. Okay, that kind of failed. They all went back home.
Yeah, so now the healer would still be healing and inner firing and stuff.
Okay, we get Fairy Fired by the guy. That's why he stays, because he Fairy Fired. So he has to follow, actually. Why does he stay? Because he casts a spell. Because just like units...
he's immobile for a bit.
Yeah, he's immobile, and then it resets his command queue. So in Warcraft 3, just like in SE2, units always have one command. I do this, A left click, I'm on A move. When they're done, they revert to an idle state where they acquire any commands, correct?
Yeah.
And if I tell him to move here and I attack the sheep instead, I've reset moving here, and now he only has one command, and now he's idle, which means he will engage enemies. If they come near, he may even chase, unless he's on hold. I know you know this because of StarCraft 2. It's the same for creeps. The moment I attack the creep, he has attack move towards me, which means he will auto-acquire a demon as a target. But he also has an additional directive to cast Fairy Fire whenever possible on units that don't have Fairy Fire on them. So if I want the Furbolg tracker not to cast 4 Fairy Fires on all of my units during this fight, I have to attack once, he fairies me, attack again, or be near enough that he can draw proximity aggro.
Yeah.
So now everyone is
now
following.
when they return home, he's not going to cast.
Now he's not going to do Fairy Fires on the Huntress. But notice how he's not turning around until the second half of his return journey. He turned around before he got there. He's not recasting Fairy Fire on Demon Hunter. He's not casting Fairy Fire on Huntress. Because he's on the return half, the final return half.
Right. How come he walked all the way back to the camp first and then re-engaged?
He must reach the halfway point. So he will go this far.
Oh, it's for each individual halfway point? Like for
Yes.
each unit's halfway
Yes.
point? Ah, okay. So he didn't get too far yet compared to the other units.
Yeah. So he goes this far. He shows up all the way over here. I re-engage him here. It fails. And if I try to re-engage him here thinking he'll turn around, then it will not only fail, but you may even be out of range to get another auto in to re-aggro him before he gets to original position.
I see. Yeah,
So
that's going to be a lot of practice to give, this an actual implementation in the game, but it's very good info. Also, if I would see an opponent doing it, right? Like that also is...
Yes. You will be able to understand what's happening in those messy creepjack situations where you and an opponent are fighting over camps. Now you'll be able to make better predictions about how the creeps are going to behave.
Serious sloth.
Very cool, yeah.
And I need to teach you something else very important, which is both related to creeps as well as PvP, which will be absolutely crucial. There are proximity aggro rules. Whoever's nearest will be attacked. If a creep is ensnared by a trapper, it drops all threat. So even though the Huntress is nearest when he gets ensnared, no one will attack him because he is ensnared. Ensnared has the lowest threat on the entire table.
Okay.
Which is the exact opposite of a slowed unit, which I explained on the previous map, right?
Right, yeah.
Yeah. So that's something to keep in mind. And then there are
It's the
additional...
same for like Entangle, right? From the Keeper of the Grove?
Yep, true. If a unit is entangled, no one will automatically attack that unit. Okay, so what I'm going to teach you now is about more priority aggro, more aggro rules with creeps. So if I go in here and I right-click this wolf, who is going to get attacked, you think?
I'm assuming the closest by unit, right? Which would be the Demon Hunter.
True. And will there be any reason for them to switch aggro away from the demon to the huntresses, you think?
I'm trying to think what each individual unit does. I don't know what the unit at the bottom does.
This guy?
No, I know this priest, the Sasquatch. Yeah, I'm not sure what that thing does, but
Nothing. He's just a dude.
okay. So I don't think they have any reason to, right?
Yeah, correct. You are correct. The demon will be attacked until the end. Now, if I go in with demon first, like this, and then the huntresses, and we do an attack like that, everything you said will come to pass. Even if my huntress moves closer to the trapper, which would normally... Like, let's say if they woke up now, and I didn't start the attack. Who would attack who?
I would imagine the trapper at the top attacks the huntress, and everything else would attack the demon hunter.
Yes, that's also completely correct.
Okay.
So if it is night, and I open attack with demon now on the wolf, you agree that the trapper would attack the demon because he's first to aggro the camp.
We must act.
Yeah, so is he considered more aggro at that point? What if
Yeah.
you attack with the huntress?
Command me.
If you attack with the huntress on the wolf, the trapper would engage
The huntress.
the huntress, yes.
Yes.
But I guess then at that point the demon hunter would kick in and the rest would re-aggro onto the demon?
Units never re-aggro unless they have a bespoke reason to do so, which would be something like the unit that used to be in range, which I was aggroing, has gone out of range.
My
Then they will re-aggro. Or they have done something to break their chain of command, which is this trapper is attacking demon because I'm opening a hit here,
blood is
right?
mine.
So he starts attacking demon.
Quickly.
If he now throws in a snare because this huntress came from here, he goes back to an idle mind state. He forgot that he's
Right.
attacking demon because he just ensnared the huntress. So then he will revert to old rules, which is find a unit that is slowed, attack it. There's no unit that's slowed? Okay, then I'll go to proximity aggro, which is this huntress.
I see. Yeah.
Yeah. So
My blade.
Make it fast.
go in, make sure demon takes the hit, go in with the rest,
Yeah.
try to slide it behind, and then keep hitting this. Yes. So yes, set up.
Though
Okay.
I be damned.
Absolutely.
Now, how do we reset aggro? There's two ways to do it. Either we move the huntress out of the 500 attack radius,
We must
Mhm.
act.
which means he can't attack it anymore,
My blades thirst.
and then he will go revert to the nearest proximity, which is demon hunter.
Standing guard.
But there's another way.
Quickly.
In position.
Creeps attack things that threatens them. So if I
The time
open
has come.
here, you'll see that the trapper initially was going to attack the demon. I don't know if you saw that.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see that?
Yeah. I saw.
But then he threw a net,
Command me.
and then
We must act.
he was going to re-aggro on the top huntress. I don't know if you saw all that, but it went pretty fast.
Yeah, it went pretty fast.
I'll show it again.
So I know you can attack your own units to reduce, I guess, the threat perception.
Okay, you know that already. Wait, what the
Well,
fuck
I
is
don't
happening?
know how. What is going on there?
What the
You get a plate master with the Ultra Welders now.
Okay.
Sick.
Sure. Wait, maybe I have a rigged
What?
map. I think I have a rigged map.
Your cheat codes are really
What?
new cheat code unlocked somehow. I don't know how that happened.
Oh my god.
Wow, you have okay, undead now.
Building.
Okay, well shit. I think I'm on a rigged map. Like this is meant for all the random tournament.